Ledger has been at the front of crypto hardware technology for many years now. Ledger Stax is yet another product pushing the boundaries of innovation. Or is it? In this video, we'll discuss what Stax is, if it's worth it, and why it's been delayed. Now, Ledger Stax was unveiled here at Ledger Open in Paris. And the article states Ledger Stax incredible demand forces pre-order closures. Take note that this article is from February 10th, 2023, and it says here, due to high interest, pre-orders for Ledger Stax have officially been closed. Quote, "We would like to thank everyone who minted their NFTs, pre-ordered on ledger.com, and our retail partners, including Best Buy, who anticipated the high demand and ordered devices ahead of time. We have no more stock until the end of the summer in 2023. Ledger shared with Hype Moon. We can see there was a bunch of hype last year around this same time. So what exactly is Ledger Stax? Based on their own statistics on ledger.com, they have more than 5 million sold, not a single hack ever. Ledger has become the baseline for proper crypto security. Let's find out what's with the sudden change of Ledger's design. So somehow the Ledger team was able to convince Tony Fadell. And for those of you who don't know who Tony Fadell is, he is actually quite famous. So Fadell joined Apple Inc. in 2001. And he oversaw all iPod hardware, software, and accessories, and he's known as the father of the iPod. He also worked on first 3 generations of the iPhone and oversaw all iPhone hardware, firmware, and accessories. And then further than that, some of you may be familiar with Nest Labs. So they have the Nest Learning Thermostat. A lot of people have this to wirelessly control the temperature in their homes. But additionally, Fadell has authored more than 300 patents. It was actually named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world in 2014. That's quite a bold statement to make, and you can see that his achievements have proven that he is a person worthy of success in technology. So let's see this interview with Fadell and his mentality towards designing the Ledger. Quote, "This was not something I wanted to do," he said. "When they first approached me, I'm like, I don't want to do it. No, thank you." Fadell later went on to purchase a few older Ledger devices. "It didn't feel like it was ready for the mass consumer, or at least early adopter consumer markets. Not just business to geeks. We had to go business to consumer." He ends this with a really bold statement saying, quote, "This reminds me a lot of the iPod." It's extremely intriguing to see why he actually chose to take on this product. There's obviously other industries he could have helped with, but for some reason he chose crypto. He was interested in it, whether it was money, whether it was people that he knew in the industry and he wanted to make a difference, who knows? So the reason I'm actually doing this video right now is because I was at FinTech Week in Hong Kong, and one of the special guests was actually Pascal Gouthier, CEO of Ledger, and he was discussing Web3, he was discussing all elements of security, which was great to see. So Ledger actually has a few videos here to show what's going on with the stack. So let's listen in. So it's got some really flashy marketing, and you can see they're using it in certain ways, and we'll get into that now. Another selling point that they have here to set themselves apart from other wallets is this customizing your stacks feature. So you can see there that it displays your name or whatever else you want to put on the side of it, and you can stack these together in a sort of magnetic fashion. And then on top of that, you can use your NFT as a screensaver on the outside. It's really cool that you can use these magnets to stack them together, look like a bookshelf, whatever they try to pitch it as in the marketing. But there's actually one quite significant barrier to being able to do this, which we'll get into soon.
Dans l'architecture de Ledger Stax, on n'a pas voulu rogner sur notre modèle de sécurité qu'on avait créé pour les Nano, Nano S, Nano X, Nano S+, où l'ensemble de la cryptographie est implémenté directement dans un Secure Element. Les secrets restent dans ce Secure Element et on a ce qu'on appelle un Trusted Display, c'est-à-dire qu'on a un écran spécifique qui est en charge de rendre intelligible à l'utilisateur les actions qu'il est en train de faire. Générer des clés, signer un message, signer une transaction.
So the point of me showing this clip specifically is that they have this smart touch display technology where you know that you're signing the correct transaction. It's not going to display something nefarious or malicious so that you sign something else without knowing it. Now, this was something we dove into with BitKey, and this is Jack Dorsey's attempt at a private key for Bitcoin. If you're interested, I'll link the video here above. I'm not going to dive too deep into it because we cover it a bit in the other video, but basically by having some sort of screen on your device, it's actually opening up your device to so many different security risks that it's not worth actually having that in the first place, even if it does increase the UX and UI experience of the users. But basically what we're going to have is a shift here. We're going to have people who are onboarding from Web 2 to Web 3, and they want these big screens just like our phones and other sorts of technological devices so we can play through it and look at things. But then we're going to have another hardcore community which is going to say we want the best protection possible. We don't care about looking at things visually. We just want to make sure it's safe, secure, and stored away. Now, CoinWire had an excellent video about the Ledger Stax versus the Ledger Nano X. So to begin with, the hardware cost is quite significant. The Ledger Stax is about double the price of the Nano X. The Stax, we have $279 US. With the X, it's $149. Now the screen is about 3 times larger and it has that cool curved ink touchscreen. And for the Ledger Nano X, it's a really small 1.3 inch OLED screen. Now the Ledger Stax has about double the battery power and it can charge wirelessly. Actually, of all the hardware that there is, the part that surprised me the most was the storage space. So there's actually less storage on the Stax than there is on the X. And what you use this storage for is to download different blockchains and different apps so that you can use the features on that device. Obviously, if you're someone who loves altcoins and you have a massive bag, this is quite a negative situation where you're not able to download all the apps you want to be able to experience the full ecosystems you like to take part in. But something positive to see is that even with adding this screen and increasing the size of the device, it's only about 10 grams heavier, which is quite impressive technologically. Now, in terms of security features, Stax actually has an advantage over the X, and this is due to the curved e-touch screen, which actually shows you the details of the smart contract you're signing. Ledger Nano X has a small OLED screen that shows you the transaction information, but not actually the smart contract details. If you want to ensure that you're sending to the right address and the right smart contract, this is essential for you because you're able to see all the data you need in order to make the correct decision on the spot. Now, in terms of device specifications, they can actually both connect to your smartphone via Bluetooth. And an additional feature here is that NFTs can be used as your lock screen wallpaper for the Stax.
Thought from the future. Can you just mint a fake NFT Bored Ape on Ethereum and make your wallpaper?
And to quickly hit on the battery once again, that the Stax has this 200 mAh battery, which means you can go months without actually needing to charge it, when the Nano X only has about 8 days that it can last. And I think this is why they're actually trying to show that it's a bookcase or something you can display that people can see. Because it can last for months without needing to charge, that LED screen, the curved screen on the side, will light up that name, and you can see it all the time. But if it only lasted for 5 days, what's the point? You need to charge it completely at all moments of the day. Nobody wants to do that. So the idea is definitely there, but we still need to get into why it's really difficult to get more than one of these. So why would someone actually choose the Stax over the X or even the S model? Well, one of the reasons is you can actually clip these together with magnets. Another reason is the large touchscreen display for signing transactions. Next, you can use the NFT photos. And another is that long battery life we spoke about. Ledger actually uses these secure element chips, and they're also used in passports, credit cards, and debit cards, along with payment systems. And there's a dedicated operating system called Bolos. Now, Bolos means that every application in your device is isolated from other apps. This ensures there is no single point of failure in your crypto security infrastructure and mitigates the impact of any potential attack. And another important feature of Bolos is that every transaction needs to be physically confirmed on your wallet. So you need to actually be there to accept that. So Decrypt was actually able to get their hands on one of these Stax. Let's see what they thought in March of 2023. Here they had an actual chance to hold the physical device, and it looks really small, looks pretty sleek, and the interface looks clean. So something different that they pointed out was that the price of this device is $279. And they say, though at $279 a pop, we're not sure who's going to be buying more than one of these. Even a multi-billionaire Bored Ape collector who likes to splash the cash and flash their stack would be better served buying a single Stax with a Nano S Plus as a backup. And they make a super fair point. That's exactly what I'll do. I don't see myself having multiple copies of these because I already have an X and an S model. I think they're underestimating how many people already own other Ledger products, and they just want this one as a more flashy option to have more functionality in the future. So how do we use the Stax? You're gonna have to pair it with your smartphone, as we said. So to send Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other cryptocurrency, you set up the transaction in Ledger Live. And Ledger Live is just their app, their UI interface in order for you to send and receive transactions and do a few other things as well. Signing is done using a long press on the e-ink screen rather than the 2-button press. For those of you who already own Ledgers, you would know that you press both buttons on top of your ledger in order to send transactions. So this is a very similar way to do it, but you're just holding on the touchscreen instead. Another thing is that the screen can actually display your wallet's QR code, and cool additional feature. So they were talking about Bluetooth, and they're saying, while private keys never leave the device's secure element, even Ledger acknowledges that some users might not be comfortable using the wireless protocol. And actually, when I use my Ledger X, which also has Bluetooth, I never use the Bluetooth feature at all. I always plug it into a hard wire because for me, I feel like it's more secure whether it is or not. So now we get to the biggest negative bummer possible with this new device. It's not actually colored. So they went through all this effort to try to pitch to people with NFTs, and then it's black and white. How many NFTs do you know that are just black and white?
Nice.
Now, I completely agree with the author of this article that unless and until Ledger launches a future iteration with a color display, it's unlikely to be the most premium hardware wallet out there. Here we have the Ledger Stax on its website, and I really wanted to buy one, and then I was met with this screen. So usually when we go here, we can click the buy now button, but unfortunately it says in stock soon. And before I made this video, I thought people were using this device and it was open for purchase, but I was completely greeted by this notify me now button. And unfortunately it's not in stock. What's going on? So I had to dive in to do some research. Here's what I found. So tons of people pre-ordered this Stax device. And when you look on their website, it says, what is the estimated delivery date for pre-orders? We're talking about pre-orders, not people that want to buy now, like me. It says, once we have the delivery date for the batch containing your Ledger Stax, we will email you with an update. Please know we are working hard to get your Stax to you as soon as possible with the best quality possible. We appreciate your patience. Well, I did some more digging and I was able to find a few articles, and please do your own research, but this is what I found. Exclusive, Ledger Stax, the supplier that slows down production. The first units of the Ledger Stax should have been delivered in March 2023. Quote, it's been 10 months since I pre-ordered my Stax. It's taking a very long time. Size a fan of the French company. The Stax is supposed to be the perfect companion to view and show off one's NFTs, but this screen, based on e-ink technology that mimics the appearance of ink, is also the source of the company's problems. And we can see here, the German manufacturer Plastic Logic, which has since been replaced, was unable to meet the quality requirements it had committed to. Out of 100 screens coming off the production line, only 35% met the specifications set with Ledger. Now we need to take this figure with a grain of salt. It's interesting to see that we know there's problems, so who knows how bad that percentage actually is. Meanwhile, delays have accumulated, and the Stax assembly lines reserved with the Taiwanese Foxconn, which also works with Apple, are idle. Quote, our uncompromising approach to quality means it has taken our supply provider months longer than they had originally expected to ensure every screen matches our quality standards, explains a Ledger spokesperson. And then we get into a bit of who is Plastic Logic. So in 2010, Plastic Logic was forced to cancel the release of an e-reader after repeated delays in production. Interesting. Well, I did some more digging, and look what I found. Plastic Logic. So we have a real company here. Plastic Logic Germany leads the way in developing, manufacturing, and commercializing flexible electrophoretic displays, or EPDs. And here's the article, actually dated from 2010. And it goes, Plastic Logic Q e-reader turns into vaporware. And for anyone that doesn't know what vaporware is, it means software or hardware that has been advertised but is not actually able to buy. And this is because it's either a concept or it's still being written or designed. So basically a false promise. Now in this article, it states that Plastic Logic isn't shipping the Q e-reader, though the company is officially calling it a delay. Plastic Logic has canceled all pre-orders and is no longer offering a date as to when we can see the Q in the real world. It has also stopped taking pre-orders for the device. Unfortunately, this sounds oddly similar to what is going on with Ledger right now, and I really hope this isn't the case for their sake. Quote, Plastic Logic wants to make sure that the product they deliver is the right one for their target business customers in the rapidly changing marketplace. A spokesperson for Plastic Logic wrote in an email to us, quote, they are continuing to refine their product, technology, and features and are anxious to get in the marketplace as soon as possible. So if Ledger went with this company, maybe they didn't do their due diligence, but we can't confirm completely that this is the company that was actually trying to make the displays for them. If this really is the case, I hope they were able to cut their losses and find another company who can provide better products and services with this screen. And about 2 months ago, another YouTuber called the Crypto Dad got an email update from Ledger about the Stax because he had pre-ordered one.
They claim the problem is the screen, and it's not them, it's their third-party manufacturer that cannot produce these screens to scale and live up to their standards, right? But they've been doing a lot of testing and improvement in-house on the prototype models that they have, claiming that it's going to be, a very well-tested device when it finally hits the market.
And the point to be made here is who's at fault? Well, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, whether it was Ledger's fault and they didn't do enough due diligence, or they didn't do their quality control, or whether it was Plastic Logic and maybe they were making good demos, but then they changed the materials and kind of, were a bit dodgy. We don't know, but at the end of the day, I think consumers don't care. We just want it to be coming out, especially those people who pre-ordered and they're trying to pay for this. It's of the biggest importance that the screen quality is good and it comes out as fast as possible. So I hope this is solved, really. And just further hitting home this point is that the users or the buyers, the ones who want to purchase this device, are the ones that get hurt. So we have people coming out here, a month ago saying, did we get rugged by the Stax? And it's just horrible to see this because Ledger has been such a good company and they've come under scrutiny recently because of their recovery system where you can have a subscription basis to back up your seed phrase. And now the Stax problems, they're having so many things come at them at once. But they should be able to give realistic timelines and updates to users so they don't worry, and we can get a firm idea of when we might be able to receive this device. So Garbaggio, cool name, man, said, I ordered multiple devices on the first day it was announced. Still no news, still no expected updates, still no demo of a working device. But in terms of the working device, we kind of debunked that because we saw Decrypt was actually using it at one of these conferences in the past. To go on further, did Ledger rug us? Did they use customer funds for purposes other than Stax? They must have made a ton of money on the pre-orders. I highly doubt that Ledger would have done this. They have no reason to be spending customer funds like FTX and buying their family homes in the Bahamas and paying for their expensive vacations. I do think they're very passionate about what they do, and they have done nothing but proven themselves in the hardware market industry in order to be reliable and dependable. Like, they've never been hacked, still to this day. What's next for the people who pre-ordered? I have a strong feeling that there will be no Stax at all. So this is about the darkest comment we possibly could have gotten. Like I said, it's just really sad to see it come to this. I hope it can be solved soon. Altogether, Ledger will figure this out, and we hope that it's sooner rather than later. And if you're interested in buying a Ledger device, I'd highly recommend it, as I've used Ledger for years and never had any issues. Any purchases using my link really help the channel in order for me to do more content like this for you. Nice. And if you like this video, you should check out this video about the new Trezor hardware wallets.